The other day I received this letter in the mail and I almost got scammed. Me, of all people, I almost got scammed. I was looking at this, I just started my LLC for YouTube because, some fake gurus are starting to send some legal letters and I just wanted to protect myself. And I'm looking at this and it's a labor law compliance notice and it's for $94 and I was like, man, this sucks. They almost got me though, they almost. But you can't trick the guy who spends all day on YouTube talking about scammers. One thing that I pride myself on in life is I am always paying attention to detail. Every little thing I do, I'm always looking for something that maybe I can't normally see or what might not be obvious to the eye when you first look at something. And this is a perfect example. And the reason why I'm making this video is to show you guys, the benefit of always looking at details. I can show you how I noticed that this was a scam, even though it looks entirely legit, that they were trying to get me for $94. This letter was for labor law compliance notice. And for $94, they also give you a please respond by box where they give you that kind of false date that you have to respond by to give you that urgency. And they also mention your business is required by federal law to post a current compliant labor law poster. I had never heard of this. With my business, Cornelio Media LLC, I have no employees. I'm the only person working here. I had no idea about a federal law labor law poster. I'd never seen this for any business, especially one that's just one person. And then they even say whether you have one employee or 1,000. I was like, this is interesting, but I wonder why I got this because I don't have any employees, so I don't know why I received this. So I wanted to keep looking into this. Then they give you pursuant to federal law, something, something, something. That sounds super realistic. And then $7,000 per instance for failure to post. I mean, okay, now there's actual damages, the potential, there is risk with not putting this up. So I'm interested, I've got this $94 bill. I'm thinking to myself, man, I've got to pay this off. And then they give you the ability to pay down at the bottom, make sure to pay us the $94. How are you going to do it? Card or check? Please pay us. And then if you go on the back, there are state and federal compliance poster, which includes all of this language. I mean, this document looks entirely legit. But one thing that you'll notice down at the bottom, I actually didn't notice until I started making this video. In the bottom right of the page, there's a disclaimer. LCPS is a non-government publisher of labor law employment posters. So that's interesting. It's a non-government publisher of labor law posters. And what I notice is if you actually go back to the front of this document, up at the top, LCPS, whatever this is, there is an address for Carson City, Nevada. But on the business reply mail, it actually is a different address for CPS. So all of a sudden it's LCPS versus CPS, and that doesn't match up. One address is to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where I'll be sending the check or the whatever payment method to that address. But on the document itself, Carson City, Nevada. So that was like a major red flag to me. And then I looked at the envelope, the actual envelope itself, and it's LCPS, Carson City, Nevada, non-government agency, labor law poster, time-sensitive business mail. I'm getting a little nervous at this point that I owe money, but at the same time, some of my red flags are going up that there's something I'm not seeing here. Like I've never heard of this before, but there's different addresses, so this can't be real. So anyway, I start to go online. What does any reasonable adult do when they have questions? You go to Google and you start typing. So I went to Google and started typing labor law compliance notice just to see what would come up. And sure enough, the very first result on Google was 4 signs of a labor law compliance scam. So now all my red flags are going off. I'm thinking something's up. And then, of course, the very first result in Google is about a scam. So, of course, I'm going to click on that just to read and see what it's all about. And I'm starting to read, and I'm seeing that sign number 1, they're sending you threatening mailers. So this was definitely a little threatening. There's urgency in there. There's reason to respond right away. Sign number 2, they seem to know a lot about you. I didn't get that sense too much. But then I really started to notice when you got to sign 3, their documents contain suspicious red flags. I had already mentioned my red flags were going up left and right. And what I noticed in this blog post is that they mention on the images, or I should say that the images just make it look like there is the check needs to be payable to a P.O. box. And sure enough, on my business reply mail envelope, I saw that it was to a P.O. box. And if you go through this blog post, they're very helpful because they basically tell you labor law, poster providers, they tell you what is actually needed. And so I actually got a little bit of an education that I didn't know that labor law posters were needed. Now, I've never ran a business with employees, so maybe that's why. I found out that you don't need to pay someone to do this for you. And what the scam is
is that these businesses, they basically threaten you with fake urgency, and they tell you all these government codes that you need this and that. And it looks like it might be true that you might need these posters. However, what you're paying for is you're just paying their business. You could do it online, you could do it for free. If you need to do it, you can do it yourself. And they're basically acting as a middleman. I've been spending a lot of time within the last year looking at fake gurus and all these social media charlatans. But now that this is kind of my world and my life, I've noticed that there are scams all over the world. They're everywhere. And it's really unfortunate because thankfully I'm someone that's going to question when I see something and it doesn't make sense and my gut has that red flags popping up everywhere feeling, and I'm able to catch it. You know, I was sitting on my computer and I just was getting upset. I was like, man, $94? I mean, right now I've had a lot of expenses recently. $94 isn't a lot of money, but you know, to some people it's a lot of money. That might be the rest of your bills for the month, and I didn't want to pay it. Of course, I was about to get out my checkbook and go, man, this sucks. Another expense with starting a business. However, I just had that uneasy feeling. And the goal of my channel, the goal of my videos is to simply provide the viewers with awareness and just share the ways that a lot of scammers or a lot of charlatans, a lot of fake gurus, the way that they sell and advertise, the way they run their business. This company obviously does it in an unethical way. I did not appreciate this type of business practice. Clearly, it is going around. So for those of you watching this, if you do start up a business, be very careful with receiving something about a labor law poster. There are many results on Google. There is a blog post with this. So obviously this happens to a lot of people. I imagine these types of businesses will find people that recently started an LLC. They'll send out mailers and they hope to capture, you know, a certain percentage of those people who are starting a business for the first time, and they don't know what a labor law poster is. It's just $94. I imagine they actually came up with a number that's a little odd and that it seems right, and it's not some outlandish number, but it's also enough to where they can make some money off of you. But the goal of this video, in conclusion, is to simply always remind yourself to get comfortable with looking into things a little deeper. I personally love attention to detail. This is my favorite sports teams. My favorite athletes are those who, you think about anyone who's great at anything, they are the types of people that will go the extra mile. They will spend the extra hour if it is necessary, and they will look at everything, all the fine print. Contracts. I recently made videos about Kanye West contract. If you're someone who's looking at a record contract for the first time, you know, be comfortable with reading every single line. It is important. Become comfortable with taking a deep dive into things that don't make sense. If it doesn't make sense, if your gut is triggering the red flag feeling, take a step back, look into it a little more. It's always cool to Google, spend 30 minutes to an hour researching, because it might save you a lot of time and money. And I really hope that those of you who watch my channel and enjoy my videos, that over time you can start getting that sense of second guessing that I feel like I have. I'm contrarian. I always second guess things that don't seem right, and I think that's a good skill to have. Now, that doesn't mean all authority is bad and all businesses are bad. Nothing like that. Any guru on social media is bad. That's not the case. But what is important is that you have it within you to always second guess something that doesn't make sense. If you receive something in the mail, right now I know with the health pandemic, there are probably a lot of scams. I know CoffeeZilla right now is doing a great job of talking about a lot of these people that are taking advantage of this current moment in our life. And so these types of scams will always exist, and you never know where they're going to come from. I am certainly not immune. I mean, I was so close to doing this that they almost got me as well. And so it can happen to all of us. It is not an intelligence thing when you get caught by a scam. It can truly happen to the smartest of people. So I hope that all of you watching this do not get trapped in a scam, especially now when a lot of people's finances are getting tight. But just remember, you can always Google, ask friends, ask people. Be comfortable with looking it up and doing a little research. I'm going on a little rant, so I'm going to end the video. I wish you the best of luck. I hope we can end this scamming, predatory behavior that is currently going on all throughout the world. Thank you so much for watching.